Patrick, one last thing I do want to bring up that's actually really important. So I'm going to share a story with me, for example, okay? We're always told, to get a degree, get a good job, but that's it. Like, what's the afterward? Or in this case, some people find a partner, get married, have kids. But what about the after parts? Does that make sense? So let me take it let me break it down further. My story. Got my degree, PT, working for 2-3 years, and all of a sudden I felt like, is this it? Like life? Like, this is what adult feels like? And I tell you guys this a lot, where it's like, I miss our days back when we were in college, because the one thing that I realized is that we have to have something to look forward to. We have to strive for this continued personal growth development stage in our lives. And what I mean by this is that I always thought that, because this is what my parents did. I'm not gonna lie, this is my parents. They come home from work and they just have dinner, you throw the TV, and that's all you do. From when I was like 7 years old to until I moved out of the house. That was the cycle. And I thought that's what being an adult was. And I tried doing that, and I swear to God, it was a very miserable life. And I had to find ways to change it.
Yeah, it happened to me too. I lived my life, especially at high school, they tell you get into a good college, get a good job and all that stuff. And there were milestones I set for myself every 5 years. In 5 years, I want to do this. Everyone that says, okay, I don't know what to do, make a goal for 5 years, right? I did that for so long, and then it got to a point where I accomplished it, and I'm like, what's my next 5-year goal? Do I want to get married? No. Okay, what else? I don't have a goal. And that kind of stagnated my life, because I didn't realize you need to have something that motivates you. And like you said, personal growth, but figuring that out is freaking hard. Right? Like, it took us years to actually realize what we want, what we value. We were still figuring some of that out. But I gotta admit, like, the 5-year goal pattern it worked for me until I got to a point where I felt like I reached all my goals, but it wasn't enough. There was an emptiness that I felt, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I guess I just do the same thing. I go to church, I go to work, come home, eat, watch reruns, watch TV, and then just do a couple other things on the side. Like, so yeah, I totally know what you mean. I think that's this epiphany that we should start teaching the next generation more about helping them figure out what they want out of life instead of getting them to the next goal. It worked for me, but there was a period where I was stagnated, and I'm like, man, if someone just sat me down a little bit more, or told me, or there was a YouTube video that told me about this, like, that would help me out so much more, I think. I don't know, right? Like, how did you even get over it? How did you get past it when you were thinking about that?
Like, I still think about that now, actually. So there's a new concept, kind of, it's been probably around for a while now. It's called, how we have midlife crisis, but there's actually something called a quarter life crisis. So this is very common for people, let's say, who are in their 30s, who, let's say, they've been working for like 5 years, 6 years, and all of a sudden, kind of like what you said, they have nothing else to look forward to because they're kind of done. And the problem with most people out of college is that we're so used to having someone teach us how to do something, right? So this is a very interesting thing. So for example, there was a study, I forget what study this is from, but for example, PhD students or people who are looking to get their PhD, the people who are likely to succeed in getting their PhD are the people who are self-driven and self-motivated to get things done rather than having people tell them what to do, right? Like, unfortunately for me, I'm the type of person where I need someone to tell me what to do. Otherwise, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if what you're like, are you like that or not really? Like, well, how do you function?
I was, and it's the entire education system, because and you think high school to college was a big shift, college to working life was a big shift, but even when you get graduate's degree, like I got my master's and then I got my executive master's, it doesn't, you lose so much of that. Here's what you do. This is what you need to do. Here's a plan. Here's your 5 options you got to choose from. Just know which option, right? I think that was the biggest mindset change. People gave you options. So here's where you're starting, here's your goal, and here's your options. And all you had to do was pick your options. Now you have to figure out, you know where you're starting, but now you have to figure out where you're going, what you want to do, and then the options that are available, and then choose. And it's exhausting, but at the same time, it's so nerve-wracking is the best way I can explain it. Because you don't even know if the goal is right. And that was a rude awakening for me, man. That's how it felt like to me.
This is why this is very important, actually. So let's say, you are the type of person who needs some people to tell you what to do. One of the things that I started doing is taking the small baby steps, right? So for example, you know me, I have a lot of ideas. Hey, Patrick, I want a business idea for this. I have a business idea for that. I can tell you a lot of these things. Half of them don't even go to fruition because one of the main things is I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to start. I have to say, you know what? The first thing that I need to do is break it down into the smallest components possible, right? Like for example, when you go to college, you have a syllabus. This is what you'll be learning throughout the whole semester. So in my case, I have another idea. Don't make fun of me. I want to start a photography canvassing, I guess, just selling my pictures. It's as simple as that. Not really a studio, just taking pictures and selling them online, via Etsy, eBay, whatever, Facebook Marketplace, because I think I take good pictures, right? Hopefully I do. And I've never been that type of person where what's the word, self-sustain or self-driven person. Self-start, right? I don't know what to do. But the more that I start to learn the process, the more I realize, oh crap, I'm more capable than I really am giving myself credit for. You know what I mean? It's all about just taking that first step and then realizing, hey, if I could just do this, then I could do this, and you just start progressing,
Yeah, I really like what you said, because this applies universally when you become an adult. And so when you get out of the coddling of the education system, as crazy and as horrible or as good as it can be of an experience for you all, there is one thing you need to do. Whatever you're working on, break it down to the smallest point, or the thing that you think you can handle and tackle, right? New business idea, a new skill you want to learn. Start with something small, and that's a really great foundation, right? The other thing is to realize where that can take you is not where you think you're going to end up. And so just go along for the journey. There's no problem with that. But the biggest thing I think from what you just said that I resonate totally with is don't be afraid to start. Because in every business, self-help, making money, good relationships, you name it, every single advice someone's gonna say, don't worry, just start, right? And unfortunately, we gotta say the same thing too. It actually is that core, because you're gonna miss out if you don't start. I don't have enough money to invest. Start with $5. Start with $10, $50, right? Like everything in money. Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. Start with something small. Everything is kind of in our lives has been broken down where you can handle it, where you can feel you can manage it. And if you do that, and you apply that to anything that you have in your life, you talked about it a lot. I want to meet people, but I'm nervous. A lot of people think they're introverts. They're just nervous to talk to people. How do you get over it? How'd you get over it, Brian?
Simply, so you actually have to develop the skills, and actually these are some things like you talk about, like soft skills.
You just start. Okay,
you just
go and do it.
Start,
right? Like,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
you're afraid to go make friends. What do? You just go up and talk to people, right? Like that's my thing. I'm afraid to invest because the stock market, I hear so many crazy things. Just start, learn it, and never change the tire. There's no better day than today, right? You listen to a lot of the successful people, and all they really did was start, and they let it snowball. And some of them had really good things, but you just keep going with that. So I really like kind of what you were saying as far as don't let the fear hold you back, because when you get out of that structure, you are going to be afraid. Everything you try is going to be scary, and it's nerve-wracking. And at some point, you just got to kind of say, I'm going to go do this, or I can do this, so I'm going to do that, and then I try something else.
You know, it's not easy, honestly, being an adult. Like, no, there is actually no instruction manuals for being an adult, which is actually a book I want to write, by the way. So remember, guys, the one of the most important things about being an adult is learning the basics, how to be more financially literate, right? How to be more responsible just with your own self and with your own actions, and above all, just kind of learning that there is more to life than just coming home and just having a beer and watching TV. Like, you got to continue your own personal growth and development way up until, like, you know, your 70s or 80s, until you physically can't do it anymore. You know what I mean, Pat?
Yeah, and I totally agree. And, you know, it's this constant search for finding happiness. This is even why we did that video on the concept of Ikigai. This is why we're talking about it from like this introspection perspective, looking inside yourself, understanding what's going to make you happy, and really striving for that, making that your goal in life. Not about careers, not about jobs. That all contributes to it. Yeah, and that's why we just want people to find and, you know, really discover who they are and really just understand what the best version of themselves are. And that's why we talk about things like this on the Introspection Hour with Brian and Patrick. So join us next week. Thanks, guys.